Hello, friend, family, or even foe. Jake again, back at it with the Skyline. Today, we're going to start a very important project. Alright, so more or less, this car behind me, power-wise, is pretty stock. Okay, it's got an intake, it's got a downpipe, that's about it, right? So maybe a little bit more boost than a standard stock, GTST, but nonetheless, nothing fun, right? Yeah, I shouldn't say that. It's pretty fun, but nothing spectacular, right? So, what I went ahead and did is I went online and I got myself a turbo off of an RB25. So, that is the name of the game. That's what we're going to start working on. Getting this old turbo off, putting the new one on, having a little bit more fun with it. Alright, so first things first is we got to get it back up in the air again. We got to drain the fluids, so we got to get rid of the oil, got to get rid of the coolant, and then I'm also going to start undoing the downpipe while I'm down there, just so that we can free up everything off that turbo, get that thing ready to pop off. You already know the plan. Let's get to it. Alright everybody, I am back checking in for a little update. So down here we can see that the downpipe is detached. Good. We can verify that up here. No downpipe on that baby right there. Nice and good. I went ahead and removed all of the piping, tubing, whatever you want to call it. Got a bunch of parts over here. Got some more parts over here. You know how it goes. So basically I've gotten most everything out of the way to pull this thing out. So basically the next couple steps are going to be to drain the oil, drain the coolant, and then we can go ahead and undo the last couple things that we need to do. So like oil feed, oil drain, coolant lines, stuff like that. There's just a couple of them on the turbo, and then it'll be these 4 bolts up to the exhaust manifold, and then she should be ready to come out from there. So yeah, that's where we're at. Those are the next couple of moves, and then hopefully we'll be pulling that puppy out. Over here we've got the new turbo ready to go, pretty much. Also got some fresh gaskets, new oil filter, yada yada yada. You already know how it is. But yeah, so those are the next couple steps, which I will probably get to tomorrow, considering that it is nighttime now. Got a little bit of a late start to this today. That's alright. But I just wanted to give you guys a little update of where we're at. And the main point of me kind of making these videos is, well, one, to document what I'm doing here, obviously, but two, to encourage you guys. When I first got into cars, I knew nothing about anything, and I had a whole list of different projects, quote unquote, whatever you want to call them. And throughout the way, I've tried to do as much as I can myself, obviously, following the internet tutorials and forums and stuff like that, yada yada. But my point is, you're watching this video for one of 2 reasons. 1, you want to do this yourself. 2, you like cars. So, my word of advice is just get out there, do it. You know what I mean? Whether you're just putting on coilovers, painting your brakes, putting wheels on, exhaust, whatever it is, get out there and get it done, because you can do it yourself. It's probably not as hard as you think, and then you learn something, and then the next time you do anything, you have that much more knowledge to it. Regardless, I'm gonna call it here for tonight. We've made pretty good progress so far, and then tomorrow I'll come back, give you guys another little update once we've drained all the fluids and started undoing those lines. We'll pull that turbo off, and then get ready to put the new one on. We got to do a couple things in between there, between pulling the old one off, putting the new one on. obviously. But we'll pick it up tomorrow. So see you tomorrow. Welcome back, everybody. We are now on day 2 of the turbo upgrade, turbo swap, whatever you want to call it. I went ahead and drained all the fluids. Naturally, made a huge mess. Part of the job, you know what I mean? If you don't do it, are you really working on your car? So, anyways, now that we have all of the fluids drained out, we can go ahead and start loosening the feed and drain lines. There's one there, one on the side back in there, kind of hard to see. There's one on this side, and then there is one on the bottom. So next step is going to be to pop all of those off. Once those are disconnected, then we can pull the turbo out. Once that's all said and done, I'm going to take a look at what size washers I need for the turbo feed and drains. And then I'm going to run over to the auto parts store, pick up some new oil, some more coolant, and then those washers that I need. And then we can go ahead and start getting the new turbo ready to get put on. Alright, we should be ready to take the turbo out now. Got everything detached. Alright, so I had to detach the power steering reservoir from the little mounts on the strut tower. Make a little bit more room, but there we go. Turbo officially out. Alright, so now we have the turbos side by side. Here's the stock RB20 turbo. There's the RB25. If we get a quick look, we can see that the RB25 turbo, the compressor itself, is a little bit bigger. But before we get ready to throw this one on the car, the first thing we need to do is swap over these wastegates. The RB25 wastegate is a 7-pound spring, and the RB20 wastegate is a 10-pound spring. So we could just throw it on with this one, but we'd be making less boost, and we don't want that. So we're going to put this one on, swap it over, and then we can get ready and throw that turbo back on the car. Alright friends, after a quick trip to the parts store, I got a new hose for the wastegate line. None of the old ones were long enough to make that distance there. And then I went ahead and scraped off this old oil drain gasket. I got a new one right here. So now we're on the fun part of doing everything in reverse. So we're going to take this, throw it back in the car, connect all the lines, connect all the piping, everything back together, fill it up with fluids, and then we're basically done. So I'll update you guys once we get the turbo back in there. Hopefully it won't be too big of a pain to get in there. But here we are now. And there's nothing in there. Woo! So, you know, more or less halfway. I'm hoping to get it in there faster than taking it out. But, you know, it's always interesting. So I'm gonna get started. Alright everybody, so we got the new turbo back in there. We got mounted up to the exhaust manifold. We got the oil feed, coolant feed, drains for both of those back on. I will give you the warning that those are not fun at all to put back on. They're very difficult, so good luck with that. It's possible, it's doable, I'll say that. But we got everything in there for the turbo. So next steps are going to be to put back on all of the intake and coolant piping, all of that fun stuff. Once we're done with that, we're getting pretty close at that point. We got to throw the downpipe back on, and then after all of that is all said and done, basically all we have to do is fill up our fluids, bleed the system, and then we'll be good to go. So I'm going to start throwing everything back together. It's starting to get pretty late here, so I'm hoping I can wrap this all up today, but we'll see how everything else goes. So we'll see you in the next update. Alright everybody, we are back. We have everything back together. We filled up the oil. We got the coolant filled up most of the way. Obviously we need to bleed the system. But everything is back together. And and we should be ready for the first start. So I'm gonna put you guys up on the tripod, and then we will go for first start and let the system bleed. All right, everyone, we're done filling up the fluids, bleeding the coolant. Took it on its first test drive. Everything went smoothly. I'm thrilled with the results. So in the next video, I'll figure out some sort of better camera angle to get you guys inside the car. We'll talk about if I think it is worth it or not to do this upgrade, and you know, show you how the car is pulling after the new turbo's on there. But that's it for this video. See you in the next one.